CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a major partnership announcement between the provincial government and Bruce Power. It's a cost-sharing agreement aimed at turning the facility into the largest of its kind in the world. However, as Scott Miller reports, there are still some hurdles to clear before that can become a reality.
Ontario is going all in on nuclear power, signing a $300 million cost-sharing agreement to push along planning for the construction of 4 more reactors at the Bruce Power nuclear station near Kincardine.
Today, we are very proud to take the next official step forward on the Bruce C project, a project that represents 18,900 jobs, a project that will create over 6,000 permanent jobs, a project that will add $230 billion to Canada's national economy over the next 80 years.
More than 2 years ago, Bruce Power officially started the process to add to their 8-reactor fleet, proposing the construction of Bruce C, Ontario's first large-scale nuclear build in more than 3 decades. While the proposed project still requires federal approvals that likely won't come until at least 2028, Ontario is putting all their weight behind the new nuclear build, willing to share in $300 million worth of pre-development work. Things like site planning, community consultation, technology selection, and cooling water strategies to get the project approved as soon as possible.
The long-term energy plan has estimated almost 3 more Bruce Power sites will be required between now and in mid-century in the 2050s. And we believe the Bruce site is an ideal site for new nuclear.
4,800 megawatts. To convert that, that's power for almost 5 million homes. And we need the power.
Part of the $300 million pre-development funding will be used by the towns and municipalities surrounding Bruce Power to assess the impact of the addition of more nuclear reactors, and accompanying thousands of jobs will have on the region, known as the Clean Energy Frontier.
That will help all the local governments to assess infrastructure, housing, hospitals, services, workforce needs when we are bringing this type of large project in the area.
Well, a recent poll found that 91% of Huron, Bruce and Grey County residents believe the construction of Bruce C would be good for their communities. Members of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation are not yet on board. Canada, Ontario, and Bruce Power have not committed to respecting Soan's right to free, prior, and informed consent. This is a serious concern. Soan leadership is working to hold Bruce Power accountable for this standard before the project moves forward.
So a central part of this work is ongoing engagement with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Meanwhile, the provincial government has taken drastic measures at a southwestern Ontario college, firing Conestoga's entire board of governors in Kitchener. And just like at London Health Sciences Centre, a provincially appointed supervisor is now in place. Krista Simpson has more on what was happening behind the scenes leading to this announcement.
The government says they did an extensive audit of the college's finances, prompted by the massive salary increase for President John Tibbetts in 2024.
A 55% increase in his take-home salary year over year from 24 to 25 is egregious, over $630,000 annually, and then that triggered an audit.
Tibbetts abruptly announced his retirement in January. The government says he was given a termination payment that was 83 times his monthly salary, which is well beyond the 24 months permitted under the law.
That is a significant amount of money, and it's egregious, especially right now when that institution has had the largest amount of layoffs at 500.
On top of that, the province says they uncovered a $23,000 trip taken to Italy by 3 senior leaders, and other similar trips where the school paid for business class airfare, luxury accommodations, and premium transportation.
The trip to Italy was another red flag for the institution because there was no net benefit. Taking a first-class trip as well as luxury accommodations whenever we're trying to bring stability back to the sector with our $6.4 billion investment, we want to ensure that money's getting directly into the students' hands.
And on top of that, the province says that ineligible hospitality expenses were approved without proper oversight, giving, as an example, a $1,300 dining expense for internal staff, where half of the pre-tax total was alcohol.
Well, we're looking into all options to see if we can bring that money back where it should be with the students.
The province has relieved the Board of Governors of their duties and has now appointed Linda Franklin as the administrator of the college, effective immediately. Franklin has a long history in the post-secondary sector and was formerly the president and CEO of Colleges Ontario. Franklin will work with the interim president, Norma MacDonald-Ewing, and other leadership and staff to, in the government's words, refocus the college on student success and to restore financial prudence and appropriate governance to the college.
The administrator is going to make $1,600 a day, and again, that is a huge savings on behalf of the taxpayers, and this is efficient, respected use of taxpayer dollars.
Krista Simpson, CTV News.
Officials at LHSC say they will soon issue a request for proposal to replace windows at University Hospital. And that comes after the hospital filed a $40 million lawsuit against several companies, accusing them of breaching contract and negligence. The statement of claims says a botched replacement project at UH cost more than $19 million compared to the original $10 million bid. The claim has not been tested in court. LHSC officials say more than 1,300 windows need replacing, which include 2,600 individual glass units. They also say there's no immediate safety concern with the existing windows. A local resident is calling for safety improvements at a southeast London intersection. He says they're necessary because serious crashes are happening too often. With more on those concerns as city staff consider the Highbury corridor's future, here's Lauren Stallone.
Imagine you're in a little car trying to look left.
Alan Tipping lives just down the road from the Highbury Avenue and Dingman Drive intersection in southeast London.
This intersection is crazy and it's just got worse.
For Tipping and other residents nearby, the sound of accidents has become all too familiar.
I heard a bang and then I heard all the fire trucks and sirens and stuff like that. So I drove down here to see what it was, met my neighbor down here, and there was a transport on the side and a white car that had been hit.
Now this scene behind me looked a lot different yesterday when two people had to be removed from their vehicle following a crash involving a tractor trailer.
Luckily, I saw nobody had died, but that's got to be one of the first accidents. Nobody's died here.
Now Tipping is raising concerns about the safety of the intersection.
There needs to be street lights here, and Highbury Ave has to be slowed down to 60 in this area. That way everybody will do 80. Right now it's 80 and everybody's doing 100.
This comes a little over a month since the city signaled sudden progress in local efforts to transfer the expressway portion of Highbury Avenue to the province of Ontario.
This is a critical economic corridor between the southern end of our city and the really important transformational investments at Yarmouth Yards and in the St. Thomas and Elgin area.
Mayor Josh Morgan says the process is progressing at its expected pace.
I'm optimistic that it's going to happen.
However, if the plan does not come to fruition, Morgan says the city would consider making safety improvements to the intersection following proper assessment.
It includes traffic volumes. It includes the history of accidents or collisions and the severity of it at that site. It includes any sort of pedestrian movements.
Tipping says he hopes somber memorials along the side of the road remind drivers to slow down and drive safe. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
The inquest into a London police shooting death resumed today, hearing testimony from the officer who was choked by the mistaken suspect who was ultimately shot dead. Rita Ismail reports.
A coroner's inquest heard from London Police Constable Ryan Hendrick, one of two officers involved in an altercation that led to the death of 29-year-old Justin Barasa in October of 2021. During his testimony, Constable Hendrick told the jury that he and his partner, Constable Joshua Ryan, were attempting to stop Barasa as part of a suspected break-and-enter investigation along Richmond Row in downtown London. The officer said Barasa matched the description of who they were looking for. The officers attempted to stop him and question him in an alley off of Richmond Street, and that's when things took a turn. A physical altercation broke out. Constable Hendrick found himself in a rear naked chokehold by Barasa. And the best way that I can describe it, it's as if someone is trying to pop my head off. That is how strong this choke is. The situation became grave. During his testimony on Wednesday, Constable Joshua Ryan said he believed he only had one option. He shot Barasa. Both officers testified that they attempted life-saving measures, including CPR. Barasa later died in hospital from a gunshot wound to his neck. Megan Daniel, counsel for Barasa's family, questioned Constable Hendrick. When you were testifying, you said you've been waiting for this 4.5 years, and in that time, sadly, there are no recommendations, nothing you can think of that could have prevented this situation, to which Constable Hendrick responded, from a police standpoint, I mean, no. My instinct is to say, don't try to kill the police. During the week-long inquest, the jury has heard that Barasa, who suffered from mental health issues, had nothing to do with the suspected break-in. In the days after the shooting, 3 males would turn themselves into police, telling officers they were out in the area on the night in question with tools and a ladder, stealing street signs. The inquest resumes Thursday. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
London police say they've laid several charges against a man they say sexually assaulted 3 teenage girls. Police say this is 37-year-old Christian Hall Burgess. They say he arranged to have 2 girls come to his home last month where he gave them drugs and alcohol, then assaulted them. Police say they've also identified a 3rd victim and they believe there may be others. According to police, Hall Burgess remains in custody. City officials in St. Thomas say they're waiting for a plan from their counterparts in Toronto when it comes to the future of the Green Lane landfill. As Jerry Dewan reports, it's expected to reach capacity in the next decade, but what happens after that is uncertain.
Garbage continues to pile up in the Green Lane landfill, with commuters on the 401 getting to see the dump in action. The privately owned landfill in Southwold Township was purchased by the City of Toronto in 2006.
They're going through updating their waste management strategy.
On Monday, St. Thomas Council received an update from staff after they consulted with Toronto officials regarding their approach to Green Lane. Well, the City of Toronto will ultimately make the call on how to move forward with the Green Lane landfill. St. Thomas has a lot at stake. As part of their agreement, St. Thomas and other Elgin County municipalities had access to the dump, but is expected to reach capacity by 2036. St. Thomas Mayor Joe Preston says St. Thomas is willing to give that process some time, but they need to monitor the situation.
These are decisions that we will be faced with 10 or more years from now.
Toronto has been focused on ways to extend the life of the landfill, with ideas ranging from more diversion to an energy from waste strategy involving incineration. Preston believes there's time for Toronto officials to work out their strategy.
Just going to kind of stand back and let this first phase happen, but we're glad we brought it to our attention, that we can look at it long before there's any chance of it being a huge project for us.
But Preston is also aware that permits and environmental assessments for new landfills or landfill expansions can be a challenge. He believes there's time to address those issues if needed.
This one will be well studied. We'll do it all the right way.
In the meantime, Preston says council will continue to ask for regular updates on the status of Green Lane. In Southwold, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
In the midst of chemotherapy treatments, current City Councillor Elizabeth Pelosa filed her nomination papers today seeking re-election in Ward 12. With more on her decision, here's Daryl Newcomb.
It's re-election time.
Elizabeth Pelosa filing her nomination papers seeking a 3rd term as Ward 12 councillor.
I do have a track record of 8 years, and residents will either know if I've been accessible, if they feel I worked hard for them, if I've helped pick up some of the extra weight on council with the different agency boards and commissions, and if I've been a good advocate for them.
A ward boundary change has removed some of the area south of Highway 401 and centered it around White Oaks and the adjacent neighborhoods.
Why does the system not correct itself?
The author of 3 books and creator of this wooden and electronic G-Wagon, 19-year-old Western University engineering student Rebel Zebian is the first candidate registered to challenge Pelosa.
Reasons why I'm going to be running: to create a new framework for the homeless people, to respect the taxpayers' tax, to ensure that everybody is working, everybody is providing for the economy.
Zebian will be pitching a plan to address homelessness and lessen the financial burden on property taxes.
You don't need to go to taxpayers and say, hey, we need to jack up the taxes so that we could suffice for this. Essentially, it's being more efficient with budget.
Some of the increases we saw I wasn't happy with either. I'll also note that it's a strong mayor's budget with the provincial powers that have been legislated. As budget chair, my job is to make sure legislatively follow the process, the public participation meetings.
Pelosa underwent breast cancer surgery late last year and is currently receiving chemotherapy. Both candidates acknowledge her health journey and say this about its impact on the election.
The campaign might look a little bit different, that you'll see some canvassers in different groups with me. If anything, I hope that me being so public about my journey and my story has helped show my strength to Londoners. customers that even while going through a difficult, challenging personal situation, I still try to find a way to uplift and help the community.
When I see somebody is providing service and support, I give them my uttermost respect.
The nomination period is open until August 21st. Londoners go to the polls October 26th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Former St. Thomas Mayor Cliff Barwick has died. Barwick first served as mayor in 1977 and 78, then again from 2006 to 2010. His funeral service will take place May 11th. Barwick was 82. Still to come, will this summer be the Snowbirds' swan song? Why the rising cost of maintenance could ground the Canadian icons. Canada's main stock index finished in negative territory, weighed down by losses in the energy sector. The TSX fell 125 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 314, the Nasdaq down 33. The Canadian dollar lost 0.05 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $16 an ounce. Oil fell 27 cents a barrel. Federal officials say they're sending consular representatives overseas to connect with 4 Canadians who have been trapped on a cruise ship. Their vessel was locked down because of a rare virus outbreak, which has garnered international attention, tracking the spread. With the latest, here's Adrian Gabriel.
One of our passengers sadly passed away last night.
Sunday, April 12th, this captain's address informs those on board the MV Hondias that a passenger has died, though there's no signs of an infectious disease on the ship.
It was due to natural causes, we believe.
Rohi Chenet recorded the captain speaking to those on board.
People were socializing with each other. We had our meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner all together in the dining room, sitting side by side.
3 people have died since the ship set sail from Argentina a month ago. 8 others are suspected to have contracted the virus. So far, the 4 Canadians who remain on board are showing no symptoms, though CTV News has now learned that 2 additional Canadians are among the more than 24 people from 12 different countries who left the ship 2 weeks ago unaware of the outbreak.
For these 2 individuals, they have been, from day one, monitored and assessed on a daily basis.
Confirmation that a Quebecer who was on the same flight as a passenger with hantavirus is also in isolation. In a social media post, Quebec's Minister of Health saying it doesn't seem like they were in close proximity and the risk of transmission is very low. There are minimal concerns for the wider public, according to the World Health Organization. Hantavirus is usually spread through the inhalation of contaminated rodent droppings and isn't easily transmitted between people.
Given the incubation period of the Andes virus, which can be up to 6 weeks, it's possible that more cases may be reported.
The MV Hondias cruise ship was anchored for 3 days near Cape Verde off the coast of West Africa. It's now located here in the North Atlantic as it travels towards Spain's Canary Islands, where it's expected to arrive this weekend with more than 140 people on board.
Consular support will be in place when the ship reaches port.
Those who remain on the ship have shared that health and safety protocols are now in place, though many have been left to wonder if more could have been done sooner. The World Health Organization clearly stating that this outbreak is different than the COVID-19 pandemic. This is limited to just a small number of people, and currently there's no national or global threat. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Cold air in place, cold enough that a frost advisory is also in place for parts of extreme southern, central, and southwestern Ontario. We do have scattered showers in our neck of the woods throughout the lower Great Lakes Basin. That could be an issue into tomorrow. But there's a bit of a warm-up after the cold air settles in through the overnight. I'll break down what you need to know, the complete weekend forecast into next week, coming up after this.
Welcome back with Gary Archibald tonight. And Gary, I'm not a huge fan. I see that F word over your shoulder there. Frost is the one we're talking about on this evening. It's chilly.
It is chilly. Good evening, Carlyle. We're talking about temperatures hovering around the freezing mark, slightly above in some areas, slightly below. But again, it doesn't have to be at the freezing mark or sub-zero for there to be some damage potentially to your garden, right? Vegetables perhaps growing, of course, our flower beds could be 2, 3, 4 degrees on the plus side, but still cold enough to do some damage to the more vulnerable species that we may have planted in our yard. So a wide swath of southern Ontario stretching east is in the frost band, if you will. Today was an interesting day. We saw some sunshine, but also a lot of cloud and temperatures about 5 to 6 degrees below seasonal. A good westerly, west-northwesterly wind and profile circulating around this huge area of low pressure. And of course, this area of low pressure has produced showers anywhere from Wisconsin through Michigan into southwestern Ontario at times. Eastern shores of Lake Huron, further inland. We even had some flurries through the overnight across parts of the Midwestern tier, even just to the northwest of the city of Toronto. And then, of course, there's the chance, about a 30 to 40% chance between now as I speak towards daybreak tomorrow morning of seeing some light shower activity, light drizzle, maybe just a few drops. But tomorrow does look a lot better as we approach 7, 8, 9 a.m. It'll be cool to start things off. The wind, primarily out of the southwest, will be warming up to a seasonal 16 to about 17 degrees. Mostly sunny. UV index is high tomorrow, so protect yourself, as always. Exposed skin. And of course, we want to protect our eyes using sunglasses. Protect against UVA and B sunlight, of course. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're in the teens, but then cooling off a bit for Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, fair weather. Again, up and down we go with temperatures. And through to the middle of next week, we'll see teens, if not lower double digits. Some scattered showers, mostly cloudy conditions through the Midwest, as mentioned, happening now through the overnight. Friday and Saturday, a similar forecast. Again, chilly enough in some areas that frost could be a concern. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we'll go from 12 to 11, then 13. Slightly below seasonal next week, but some fair weather, a mixture of sun and cloud, and relatively speaking, although cool, not anticipating a lot of frost next week, but keep that in mind, covering up our plants and taking care of our four-legged furry friends through the overnights. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Gary. Canada's iconic aerobatics team, the Snowbirds, may have performed here in London for the last time. They were part of the 2025 air show lineup, but they're not listed this year. And as Graham Richardson reports, as of next year, they could be grounded indefinitely.
For decades, they've been a Canadian symbol of blue skies and hot summer days. But Conservatives are now warning 2026 will be the last time Canadians will be able to see the iconic Snowbirds for many years to come.
Up front, the Snowbirds are being cancelled. This is the last season.
Tommy is the former mayor of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, home base for the Snowbirds. He says the schedule is normal for 2026, but after that, the planes will stay on the ground.
They do our nation proud. And we really need to get behind our Snowbirds. It's an SOS call. It's Save Our Snowbirds.
2 air shows confirmed to CTV they are not booked in 2027 and referred all questions back to the Snowbirds. When asked directly about the future of the program, Defence Minister David McGuinty's office refused all comment. One Liberal MP said cost is a factor.
At what cost? So, I mean, yeah, it's a Canadian institution. Would be sad to see it go, but I'm not sure how much it costs for the Snowbirds.
After our story published online, the minister said this in the House of Commons.
This member surely can't be suggesting he's going to put the pilots, the women and men of that fleet, in harm's way.
In 2021, the government committed $30 million to upgrade the fleet and keep it flying until 2030. It appears the Snowbirds won't make it that long.
This is like maple syrup. This is like, ice cold Canadian beer. This is like, gravy on our poutine.
So why not just replace the fleet altogether once and for all? Well, the cost to do that will be between $1 and $2 billion. With all the other government priorities, aerobatics in the air and a new Snowbird fleet may not be top of the list. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
Finally tonight, the eve of a historic moment in Canadian sport. The Toronto Tempo will tip off their inaugural season Friday night, this country's first ever WNBA franchise. With more, here's Allison Hurst.
Hamilton's Kia Nurse is getting ready to make history with her team.
Knowing how much this can change the lives of so many young people who are watching tomorrow will be really, really exciting.
The Toronto Tempo play their first regular season game tomorrow, officially bringing the WNBA to Canada.
This one will be special, just knowing that I can look out into the crowd and see a lot of people that I know, see my family members. That aspect of it is really exciting.
Acknowledging the significance of tomorrow's game, head coach Sandy Brondello says they'll mark it, hopefully with a win.
Just said, let's enjoy the moment. Something really special. We're creating history tomorrow, and we're going to be in front of our fans, who's going to bring us so much energy.
The Tempo are coming off 2 losses in the preseason, but Brondello says she's feeling way better than a week ago.
Our system's in place, but it's more about building that chemistry and the cohesiveness and just going through some battles together, getting battle tested. But it's fun. I love that part.
Something the team is going to need, being an expansion team, meaning they haven't played together before.
You have a group of players who have something to prove on this team together, but are also been there and done that. And so it is a new team, but we have a bunch of non-new players, and it looks like the Toronto Tempo really want to win.
Rookies like Tiani Key, meanwhile, are trying to catch up to the pace of the game.
It's all been a challenge, just coming to the league, learning a new pace and everything like that. But honestly, just not fouling, I think has been a challenge. I think it's something I'm definitely working on.
And getting settled in the city.
I love the city. Just still getting used to the loudness at night. There's always something to do, and I can tell from my apartment. But no, I like it a lot.
The Tempo face the Washington Mystics tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.